Now it's started.
Hello, welcome to another episode of
Call him Father.
Wow.
We've changed a lot since the last episode in just 1 week.
In just 1 week, we've grown.
Just one simple turnaround.
We've grown as much as it's been 4 weeks, one might think. But no, it's just been 1 week, and that's the power of the Lord and reading the Bible.
That's right, it ages you.
Yeah, dramatically.
Yeah, it has not been good.
It's like dog years.
Yeah.
So last time, we ended at 28. Is that what we're saying?
Yeah, we ended at 28, which was
remember?
talking about Jacob's dream, Jacob's ladder, when he fell asleep and the Lord promised him the land that
Jacob's
he slept
I
on.
have a dream sleep.
I have a dream.
Be a tough one. I can't even say the word speech.
Speech.
I can't do the speech of the word speech.
That's how long it's been. He hasn't talked in...
I've been meditating.
Yeah, exactly, which is why that's a good place to start in terms of our rankings.
Wow,
You've been meditating, so let's dive in and see how you've been, both religiously speaking and spiritually speaking.
Okay, I'm going to start.
Yeah, go ahead, Mr.
Okay,
Meditator.
Religious.
Mr. Meditator.
I've been seeking out practice on my own instead of just going to church with Josh sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been going back to my roots. I guess I was a birthright Quaker. Like I was born into the Quaker church, which I didn't know. I thought they just kind of started going.
Was your G-Paw Quaker?
He was Mennonite.
Oh, yeah.
So I've been going to Quaker meetings with my mom and yeah, I like those a lot. I mean, I like when a sermon is good, it's good, but something about sitting in the Quaker meetings are good until they are ruined by Quakers. They're really fun. It's just to sit there in silence with other people is like a very cool experience. And once you get through the first 10 minutes of like, what am I going to think about? What should I say? And you just are sitting there and kind of doing this contemplative prayer. I like it. And then some essentially like blue-haired type of Christian, which is a very interesting type of Christian.
They show up at Quaker meetings?
That's what a lot of Quakers are, hyper liberal.
Oh,
they're like
cool.
pacifist, hyper liberal people.
Okay.
It's like the one I went to in Madison, like one of the shares was this woman who was talking about how like what an invigorating experience it was for her to change her child's pronouns on their passport.
How old is the child?
I think like below 10.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so that was, I mean, say whatever you will about that, but like just like the older Quakers that are there, they talk about like bigger stuff, and then like the more millennial Quakers, they always talk about themselves.
Oh,
so it's pretty on brand. But yeah, I don't know. It's just like it's almost like you have this nice thing with this silence. And then, sometimes you get people who come up and say really interesting stuff that add to the silence. Mm-hmm. But very often you have people who come up and they take away from the silence.
They're just like screeching.
But that's the risk, That's the point of giving everybody a voice that I do overall think is good. I guess the point is I've been going to Quaker meetings, which is a religious thing, and I do actually enjoy them. So I'll give myself a 4 on religious. Which I think I was a 2 or 3 every single other time.
No, there's one time, I think maybe it was last time, you jumped up to a 5. Or something, maybe even you were feeling super religious that week. But
well, no one's keeping track.
I'm sure our loyal listeners
yeah.
will be able to remember.
How are you? You don't really change religiously.
Yeah, religiously, I'm still probably like an 8.
Mm-hmm.
I still, I don't even know. I'm trying to think if it's even helpful
for you
rate
to do
religiously. Well, because it's like, okay, I believe in the doctrines of Christianity, so it's like. How are we defining being religious? Probably good that we're talking about this 7 episodes in. But how are we?
7's not that many if you consider how many we're going to do if we're going to read this whole fucking book.
Yeah, it's 7 is very beginning.
Tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, that's very true. Because if you're defining religious based on like how you act, then it's like, okay, cool. But also who the hell cares? You know what I mean? It's like, let's talk about what you believe, right? Like action, which I mean, you believe, you act based on how you believe for sure, but like
sometimes, most of the time I do not.
Sure, yeah, but that's a good point. It's like in terms of religion, yeah, it's like Christian religion. I believe Jesus. We said the Apostles' Creed at church today, and it's like, yeah, that's what I believe. So I'm Christian based on that. I adhere to that creed. So I guess you could call me a 10, but I'm not like as prudish as
I
other
call
Christians.
You a 10.
Come on, guys. Stop.
And that sweater? Come on. And your
stop it.
Viore?
Just because I got a haircut? Yeah, the Viore is
The haircut
nice.
looks nice, but I think you look a little bit like
Haggard?
more
Unkempt?
No, like when you have bigger hair, something about you is more like more interesting looking. When your hair is a little bit bigger, it makes your head look bigger. Yeah, it's girth.
Yeah, that's what I've always...
Which is actually good.
Damn, I've always wanted a bigger head.
Well, but I think people go, oh, he's smart.
Oh, interesting. And now they don't think that as much? Or you don't?
He got dumber when he got his haircut.
Yeah, it might be true.
Which
I've
is a
gotten
dumb thing to
compliments for the haircut.
No, I think the haircut looks nice. I'm just saying, sexually, I prefer you with a little bit more puff.
Well, if you were my target demo, I would put more stock in that. But
yeah.
My target demo is not you.
Specifically?
Yeah, just really any other.
Even other guys?
I have like a negative demo. My target demo is not Grant. Anyone else, I'm like, animals, don't care.
Damn, all the time I've spent on this couch.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, it's interesting because, like, I guess that's maybe that particular metric is really only going to change for me.
Yeah, probably. I mean, unless something wild happens and I'm like 0, it's enough. But then my spirituality would also be 0. You know, so it's like, yeah, I don't really know. For me, yeah, 8, I guess. You didn't give your spiritual rating though.
Spiritual, I don't know. I it's hard for me. I put it at like a very medium 5.
Medium 5, not a strong 5. Noted.
Mm-hmm.
A medium 5.
Yeah, I just feel a little. I feel a little out of things lately, and I feel a little out of a connection to a larger thing, or maybe I'm just not thinking about it as much as I have been.
Well, I'll say this, in defense of your own spirituality, I would say that feeling a lack of connection is evidence of spirituality, because most people don't even feel that lack. They're just like, "What do you mean?"
Yeah.
And that I would put like maybe like a 0 or a 1 or whatever. But if you notice a lacking of something, that's evidence of something there, right? So if you know that there has been spirituality and you're lacking that, I think that level of spirituality might still be there. You're just not maybe engaging with it as much.
Yeah, that's fair. That's pretty much what's happening is, you know, when we started this, I had a lot of like gusto, and then there was some, you know, I was talking to a lot of people about it enthusiastically, and then like things start to level out, and it's just like, oh, you know, go by your daily life and shit. And
yeah, it's life. And that's why it's hard to, I mean, yeah, that's like all of growing up, like middle school, high school spirituality, and to college too, depending on where you go to school, is so like mountaintop experiency. Like you go to these camps and then you like pray a lot and you like worship and everyone raises their hands and then like, woo, I love Jesus. And then it's like you leave and then it's daytime outside and you're like, anyways, and then you just kind of like forget. You just kind of forget because you're like, oh, I forgot that God was like a real thing in my every moment. I thought he was just in that room. You know what I mean?
Yeah, or I was supposed to feel about it the way that I was supposed to feel in that room all the time.
Sure,
which is a baby thought
and not sustainable at all. You're like, I'm supposed to be on the brink of tears constantly.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like, yeah, it's the fact that he's within reality. Like a lot of times people step out of their normal life to experience God. I think the difficulty is bringing God into our regular life or acknowledging that he is in our regular life and seeing him there. Because again, kind of what we were talking about before, off mic, is talking about like our expectations of how God will act. Like, well, God will do this for us. And it's like, not like, if he doesn't do what you asked him to do, it doesn't mean he's not there.
Yeah.
It means maybe our expectations of him are not correct or whatever, you know? And like being able to humble ourselves in that way.
Yeah. And also, you know, I am in this like place of like still very doubtful and constantly in the flux of like, is this just like another pursuit to try and change myself, or is this like a real thing? And like,
I don't know why those have to be opposed to each other.
No, I don't think they have to be, but I think that's how I think I structure stuff, is like it either works all the way or it doesn't work at all, or like is this and it's why I think I find myself so constantly like throwing myself into new things, is because instead of you know, allowing the space for doubt and then moving forward into the thing, I go, oh, doubt, getting out of here.
Yeah, I think a big part of that is that judging something's veracity based on its effect on us is dangerous, because that means ultimately I'm basing it off of my experience. And it's like the historicity of Christ has nothing to do with my experience. Like either Christ did rise from the dead or he didn't. And whether that happened or not has no, like my experience of the Holy Spirit has no bearing on the truth of that statement, right? So it's like a lot of the times if we just base what we believe on the expectation of what we believe belief to be, like, oh, belief means 100% sure, no doubt, whatever. And if I do have doubt, then it must not be the thing. It's like, okay, then I don't think we're really going to believe anything ever, because we're always going to be doubting things, you know? So it's like we need to base it off of what we believe to be true outside of our own experience. Rope in your experience. Richard Rohr would say experience is a way bigger player than I would maybe. But like, yeah, I think we have to gauge our experience, but also we need to use things outside of our experience to have faith, so that when our experience is low, we can cling on to that thing outside of us, you know?
Yeah. It's like this weird, I mean, it's the whole problem, or not problem, but like the thing of faith in the first place is like, you kind of just, you say you're going to believe this thing, and then you eventually do, but it's like a practice. And because I don't have a lot of practice with it,
Right.
the spaces where I would need to go, no, this thing is there. I do believe this despite my experience right now, despite my feeling right now.
Right.
This is involved with that. It's not apart from that. It doesn't
Right.
negate that. I just kind of go, oh, fuck, it's over.
Yeah. Oh no, the feeling
Pale.
Yeah, the feeling that truth gave me is gone.
Yeah.
So I guess that truth isn't true.
Yeah.
Because baked into the truth is, well, it's always going to be there.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, is I think that truth is always there, but our believing it isn't always there. Like I think we're the thing that changes, not the truth.
Yeah.
And so ultimately, I think like that's what Christianity and sanctification is ultimately, is falling away from that truth less and less and clinging to it more and more, so that these instances of doubt, like whenever I have doubt or I'm like, I don't think God's real at all. And I'm not saying this is for everyone, and you know, this is just how I think of it, is then I think about how the fact that we're here, and then I'm like, okay, obviously there's a God. Because the whole idea of evolution by chance and everything, like without a deity involved, is so retarded that I'm like, I can't, like, I think about that when I'm like, oh, I don't know if God's real. Then I think about everything happening by chance, and I'm like, okay, never mind. That's insane. Obviously there's a God. And again, maybe that's a sign of the Holy Spirit indwelling in me, is that I just can't give the light of day to everything being by chance and random. Like that's so mathematically
Oh, I can
impossible.
totally see that.
See, yeah, I mean, if you like math at all, just dive into the math of it, and it's, I mean, inconceivably impossible for anything to come from nothing. And also, I mean, we've talked about that before, and like actual infinities is also impossible. So it's like, okay, like mathematically, logically impossible. So
Yeah.
I
don't know what any of that means.
I don't know how you get around that. And yeah, there's like a lack of engagement to it. It's like, well, here's a thing that proves it's impossible, and everyone's like, yeah, I don't care. It's all these science-minded. I'm not saying you are this way, but a lot of like a Richard Dawkins or whoever. All these science-minded people are accepting one miracle, which is everything coming from nothing. They just accept the tiny thing of everything from nothing. That's the one miracle they believe in. And then everything else is like, no other miracles allowed. It's like, okay, what?
Right.
Well, why? Like, and why do you accept the first one? Like, what makes that okay? And they're like, well, there's no God, so it must. Okay, what? Like, it's so circular. It's nuts. It just gets me upset and angry.
Really?
Yeah. It gets me
Are you sure?
Yes, it gets me angry. But anyways, that's what I think about when I'm like doubting the Lord or the existence of God generally, is that. And then if it's Jesus, then I just look at the history of who Jesus was, and that's very convincing to me. So that's my route.
That's good.
My spirituality, I'd put it like a 6 or
Okay.
a 7.
That's good. So that's where we're at.
Yeah.
And then we got to keep reading. We got to keep reading the thing, because we're only
That's what the whole-
1%.
We're on page. Hey, we just crossed into page 100.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
100 of
No.
So, but I'll bleep it.
Yeah. They're going to lose the forest through the trees.
Oh no. Okay, yeah. So do you want me to summarize this? Next part of the story?
Yeah.
Just as a refresher?
Yeah, you do that.
Okay. So as a reminder, previously on Call Him Father.
Oh, father.
Yeah,
Drinking my Coke.
previously on Call Him Father. Jacob is running away because he just tricked Esau and he's and his dad. He tricked Isaac, got the birthright from Esau. He's running away because his mom told him to. So now he's running away back to her family, Laban specifically.
Laban.
And he just fell asleep, had his dream where the Lord promised him the land that he slept on. He was like lit, built an altar. Excuse me. Bless you for burps?
Sometimes.
All right. And now he's showing up at like Laban's land, right? And so this is the story that we're diving into right now. Genesis 29.
29 for our Spanish listeners.
You sounded like Saruman when you kind of said that a little bit from Lord of the Rings. So yeah, Jacob. I'm trying to figure out. Okay, so basically, Jacob shows up at his mom's brother's place or mom's cousin's place, right? So kind of family, distant family, whatever. He shows up and he sees this girl there. This girl's who he like immediately falls in love with. Her name's Rachel. Falls in love with Rachel immediately. And is like, wow. Talks to his mom's cousin, Laban, and says, wow, I need to stay here for a bit.
Wow, Laban, you got to sell me your daughter.
What
here,
the
baby.
hell do I do for your daughter,
what
Rachel?
What do I have to do for you to sell me her?
Yeah, and then he's like, and then Laban's like, how about you work for me for 7 years? And Jacob's like, done.
Easy money.
Easy. I'll do that
Only
easy for your
7?
daughter. And he and Rachel fall in love
But
over
then
those
by the
7
time
years.
that happens, she'll be 17.
What? She's gonna be not.
She's going to be
She's
ruined.
gonna be 16 by then. Yuck.
Ewy.
Ew. So yeah. So then he shows up. After and in scripture it says I'll read the exact thing. Jacob. Also he has another daughter. Laban does. That daughter's name is Leah, and this is how it describes it. Leah's eyes were weak, but Rachel was beautiful in form and appearance.
I tried so hard to look specifically what does it mean for someone's eyes to be weak? And I think it's just
Listen, it's not flattering.
It's not flattering.
Her eyes were weak. Like she's so bad to look at.
Ew.
It's almost like someone saying, "You left the house like this? Like you can't even see yourself. You look terrible."
Yeah.
It's like you didn't even look at yourself before you left it. Like she's
she
just.
she doesn't even know how bad she looks.
And unfortunately, Leah is the older of the siblings, right? And that always birth order always matters. So Leah, who is weak in the eyes, or on the eyes, is older, and then Rachel, who is strong and beautiful in appearance, is her younger sibling, right? And Jacob falls in love with the younger one. And then
Jacob's also the younger.
Jacob's also the younger. That's a good point. It says Jacob loved Rachel, and he said, I will serve you, Laban, 7 years for your younger daughter, Rachel. And Laban said, it is better that I give her to you than I should give her to any other man, so stay with me. And then in verse 20, it says, so Jacob served 7 years for Rachel, and they seemed to him but a few days because of the love he had for her.
He was serving.
He was serving. Time. He's like, yo.
Jacob served cunt for 7 years.
Being all gay for Rachel.
Like, ooh, Rachel.
Ooh, Rachel.
Your sister is nasty. So they served. They bullied Leah for 7 years.
Served for just a few, and he felt like a few days because of how much he loved her.
Yeah, and because we don't really know how they're keeping track of time in here.
That's a good point.
Methuselah
I wonder how many
was 900 years old, so he probably was like a couple hours he had to till the fields, and he's like, that felt like 7 years.
Yeah, exactly. Wow. Jacob's like, it's been 7 years. Just trying to trick him.
Yeah,
it's been 7 years. He's like, I think it's been like 4 days, but I think.
I mean, I don't know. I'm 800 years old. I have dementia.
Yeah. Okay, so that
you
happens.
like the next line though.
Sorry?
You like the line about and it felt like a day, right?
Oh, I love that line.
Yeah.
I love that because just love is so powerful.
Yeah.
So anyways, eventually 7 years comes and goes, felt like a few days. They get married, right? Have the wedding feast, whatever. Go in to sleep with her for the first time. Jacob wakes up He's kind of parties at his, thing, gets kind of trashed.
He had a fun time at dinner.
Have fun time.
Remember,
Wakes
no
up.
lights in this time. There's no lights.
No lights.
No
It's
big
pretty
light.
dark. Yeah, a little candle.
Yeah.
And what happens is he wakes up, and who does he see next to him but Leah, the older, weak-eyed daughter?
Yikes.
What the hell is this I'll doing here?
I wanted the hot one.
First off, not really a great look that you got so trashed at your wedding that you just kind of slept with any woman. You were just like,
Yeah, it's like, oh
Woman.
God, he was so in love with her at first sight, right?
Yeah.
He's like, I need her. And then the first time he sleeps with her, he's like, oh yeah, I don't. This is her.
just any kind of womanly form.
Yeah,
Doesn't
this is
really
good.
matter. So yeah, I wonder if he said her name and then Leia was like, yeah,
Sure. I mean, I gotta take what I
Rachel,
can
it
get.
doesn't-
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another thing. So Leia's been out and about for 7 years. No one's picked her up. No one's been like, I like Leia. Not even like an ugly nerd has been like, hey, we're a good fit for each other. Maybe I'm not great. She's not great. Like no one has picked her up. So not great. But then Jacob, upset, goes to Laban and then is like, what the hell? I was going for Rachel.
Why did you make me come into her?
Why'd you do this?
Yeah.
That is actually probably the biblical way.
That's what they say. Is,
Why did it make me come into her? He's like, you could have pulled out.
let
all
her,
right?
let
I
me
did
come
not-
into her.
I
Yeah.
did not, tell you to finish inside.
Yeah. Put it on her weak-eyed face.
Strengthen those eyes.
Yeah,
up.
strengthen
I don't
those
know if there's any
eyelids.
sort of elixir in that
Yeah,
you got going on. And then Laban's like, I don't know.
With your cum.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, get some workout. Try and
Yeah,
open them.
cum is like the ankle weights for eyes. Whoa, that is dense.
Woo, it's like pink eye.
He
Just
needs
gets so.
some water.
Ah! Anyways, that's probably on the grosser side that this pod has gotten.
Well,
I'd
you know.
imagine. The Bible's open in front of us.
I mean, they're like they're raping and incesting. I think what we're saying isn't that much worse.
Well, so anyways, Jacob comes to Laban and goes, what the hell, man? I wanted Rachel. And then Laban's like, yeah, I get it. But also like culturally, it's a little awkward to give away the younger daughter first. We
Yeah.
kind of have to give away the older daughter.
Yeah, it's okay to lie.
Yeah. And like, oh, well. And so then Laban pulls a fast one on him and gets rid of Leah because also she's hard to offload, dude. He's like, get this girl out of here. I mean, let's say Rachel's 22 at this point, which is ancient. How much older is Leah? Like
But
7
he
years?
could have done like a BOGO. He could have done like a you get her and hey,
He could have been
while you're at
transparent.
it.
He could have been transparent
Yeah.
about it.
So
Yeah.
that wasn't necessary.
That wasn't necessary. You're right. And so then Laban pulls another fast one, kind of the same fast one, and goes, all right, I'll give you Rachel like right now. I'll give you Rachel right now, but you got to work for me another 7 years. Mm-hmm. And so then Jacob's like, fine. And so then he marries Rachel like immediately.
He gets to come into her.
Yeah, he gets to come into her and then works for Laban for another 7 years after that.
It's funny, like in all these stories, like the sign of marriage is we fucked.
Yeah, they knew each other.
Yeah, they knew each other, but it's like there's a dinner, but we fucked.
Yeah, 100%. That's a pretty big aspect, which I don't
That's a big
disagree with so much now either.
sure, whatever. But it's just like it's interesting that like they really make that clear. Like I fucked this lady.
Yeah,
100%.
100%. Because I think there probably was a lot of faking it back then.
Faking fucking.
Sure. If you're not interested or if you're gay or whatever.
Oh,
That was the thing. Oh, shoot. I forget when this was. This is like back in Martin Luther's day or whatever. So maybe the 1400s or
60s.
something. Just during the Civil Rights Movement, where people would like the best man and maid of honor would like watch them have sex to ensure that there was like consummation of the marriage.
damn!
Yeah. Hot.
Just please make me best man. Please make me best man. Please,
Oh, your wife is so hot.
please can I be best man?
Please, I want to be best man.
Yeah,
Yeah. Kind of a weird cucky situation, but it's not cucky
because
because it's
people
not
were
theirs.
lying about having sex. That's
I
so
forget.
crazy because you go so long without having sex and then you lie about it.
But also some people think that sex is like purely like I shouldn't say purely, but like thoroughly impure. Like even within marriage, people are like, some people think like marriage for procreation only. So
I
it's
think
like,
Norm Macdonald felt that way.
no way.
There was an interview where he's talking about how it's just like a nasty thing like that you do.
You're saying he's not joking?
It doesn't.
this
It
interview?
seemed like he was very serious.
The comedian?
It seemed like he was serious. Dude.
No, gross,
But
man.
he would get like
I don't do that.
he would go through these periods where he would get very serious.
Yeah.
There's a lot of interviews of him being very serious, especially about religious stuff and about sex.
Well, he's very Christian. He's a Christian guy. He read a lot of Russian lit, like Dostoevsky and Tolstoy and stuff. And also, there was one interview with him and Larry King.
He could have been joking about that.
That's a good point. There was a good interview with him and Larry King. I saw a clip of it the other day talking about, like, you always got to play the dumb guy. Oh, he was bagging on Bill Maher.
Yeah.
Because he was like, of course everyone hates Bill Maher. Like, nobody wants to be condescended to like that.
That guy is he sucks so bad.
Bill Maher?
Biggest suck guy ever.
Dude, the worst. Oh, no. What
to have that voice and that personality is crazy.
It's a curse. I mean,
it's like,
I almost shouldn't even hold it against him. It's like, what odds did this man
he's
have?
doomed. It's like a cartoon character.
Dude, yeah, he is. He is like a Simpsons character.
Yeah, but wait, why do we bring up Norm? Oh yeah, you were saying sex is disgusting in all
Some
facets?
some people thought that, but
Okay.
I mean, I'm not saying this is indicative of that. But like
some people
within,
specifically who are Christians think that.
some Christians do, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Some Christians
But
are like, it's for procreation only. That's the only thing that it's for. Like Catholics aren't totally like that, but they do. They're anti at large. I'm not saying all Catholics are, but the church's stance is anti-contraceptive.
Right.
So that would mean, like, obviously no condoms, no pill, no IUD, no pulling out.
Yeah.
Like, you have to give a chance of life every time you have sex.
You must bust.
Yeah, it's very
Inside.
Catholic. Yeah.
Oh wow. And are you Protestant?
Yeah.
What does Protestant say about like contraceptives, condoms, pulling out, busting on faces?
All good.
All good.
Within marriage, sure.
Oh, okay. So just
They think sex is for pleasure, definitely. I mean,
okay.
again, I shouldn't say Protestantism because there are a lot of Protestants. Like, I have friends who are like, I kind of think every time, like, are anti birth control. I mean, I'm pretty anti certain forms of birth control just because I think it's sexist and messing with the body and whatever. But I wouldn't say condoms are bad. I don't think the pill's great. I think the IUD can be risky, but
sure.
I think, like,
But that's more of like for women's health and mental health. Than
yeah,
it is
yeah,
actually
it's
like
not
religious.
No, it's not religious.
But religiously, in general, Protestantism is like
Pretty chill with
you can enjoy
contraceptives.
sex.
Oh, yeah,
And
yeah.
Contraceptives are
Yeah,
not
sex
sinful.
is an amazing thing. I mean, Song of Solomon is like, I think we talked about that before, but Song of Solomon is like, sex is lit.
Yeah.
Like, it's big on sex. So this whole idea of like Christians think of sex as bad,
Yeah.
I think is like a total myth. Like, sex
It's a
is
Catholic thing.
Sex is, well, yeah, not even that totally, but like dependent. I think like sex is praised in the Bible, but what is not praised is sex outside of a certain context.
Mm-hmm.
Context is everything. So sex is amazing within a context. And that's what I adhere to. Or yeah, that's what I believe.
Okay. Bust inside, y'all, if you're married.
You don't have to. You can pull out whatever.
Yeah, bust on top
That's
of.
your deal.
Give her those eye weights.
Sure. Okay, so basically Jacob did so and completed her week of because the marriage festival was like a week long. So Jacob married Leah in the week, and then right after, Laban gave him his daughter Rachel to be his wife. So then it was like they got both. But Jacob always loved Rachel more.
Yeah.
Rachel was his lady. And then they also got servants. So like Rachel had a servant and Leah had a servant, and so Jacob got those two as a part of the deal.
Yeah. And then he starts coming into everybody.
Yeah, a lot of it gets dispersed.
But despite her weakness of eyes, Leah's pretty strong in the uterus department because she starts
Strong
popping
utero.
out boys.
Yeah, boys.
Lots
a lot
of boys.
which is like the
Boys,
best thing
boys.
you could do as a woman back. Isn't that crazy?
Is
It's
make
the
more men.
Yeah, is make more.
That's crazy that women
Deny yourself.
Women make their natural predator.
Yeah. Like no. No. Like imagine if you're like a freaking deer and you give birth to a lion.
rifle.
You're like, oh no.
I gotta pretend to love this thing so it doesn't kill
Yeah,
me.
imagine raising a rifle and then it just ends up killing you. Oh my gosh. Damn, you're just cleaning it because it's a small baby rifle and you're like, this thing's gonna kill me one day. Or people like me.
Yeah, so she starts having like a lot of baby, and Rachel, the beautiful one, is for a very short, or for quite a long period, or whatever, is barren.
Barren.
And which is
Baron
the
Trump.
worst thing a woman. She's Baron Trump.
Baron Trump. Paul
It's
Langley.
the worst thing a woman can do back then is not bring more rifles.
So what they do is they give each other the slaves. They're servants. Like, here, sleep with my servant. Kind of like what Sarah did with Hagar.
Yep.
Sarah's like, hey, I know I can't have a kid, so have a kid with this other person. Again, I mean, obviously it's cultural, but to me, I'm like, okay, but that's not your kid, right? Like, you understand that that's not your child. That's their child. Like, it's not like, oh yeah, I had a kid. Yeah, my servant had a kid. Okay, you see what you did there? How you said my servant and not you? Like, isn't that, I don't understand.
Yeah, it's like when guys say we're pregnant.
Yeah, it is. It's like, we're pregnant.
No.
Imagine Jacob talking about him and Rachel, and he's like, we're pregnant. Yep, she's 8 months. And he's like, well, actually, it's not. It's the servant over there.
Yeah.
She's pregnant.
He's
But,
standing
like,
in front. She's standing behind them.
exactly. She's like, hi. It's like, yeah, it sucks, you know? I forget the names of the servants. They should be on the page.
Zilpah.
Zilpah, I think, is Leah's servant.
Okay. We gotta pay respect to these lady slaves.
Yeah, because they, their names are in scripture. Their name is in the word of God. They have been honored for, eternity by being featured in this.
Bilhah. That, I mean,
had a better name than Bilhah, but it sounds like
that is a week on the ears.
Yeah, Bilhah. But that's
So
Rachel's servant.
Rachel is Bilhah.
Yeah.
And then eventually Leah, her Gucci starts getting a little tired. And
Which, I mean, you got to understand, she popped out like 8 or 9
yeah, she
kids.
had like a lot of kids.
All boys.
She
Probably had,
boys.
and that, again, that's just saying the boys, right? There could have been some accidental girls that they were like, "This is don't even."
Yeah, that's
like, they had girls, and there's like, "This is why would you talk about them?"
Don't
That's no
waste
point.
think.
Yeah.
They're gonna need to make a lot of copies of these someday.
I have to write down 20 names. No, just don't write down the girls. Like, all right, that's half. That's half of the names now.
They do name every single. I mean, do all of these dudes' names come up later?
It's funny that you asked that about this specific set because, yes, absolutely.
But like a lot of the names from before when they were doing these genealogies do not come up.
Some of the Enoch comes up later, Methuselah comes up later, but a lot of them do not. But like with this particular set, these are going to be the 12 tribes of Israel that live on forever.
Okay.
So these names are actually super important because these are like
Palestinians.
Sure. I mean, okay. Yeah. These are the names of like the 12 tribes of Israel.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool. So there's another thing that happens with the mandrakes, which you got to help me out with why this is.
You're saying mandrake, and all I'm thinking of is the thing in the Hogwarts.
What is that?
It's the plant that they pull up and screams. It's in the Sorcerer's Stone.
Oh, those are mandrakes.
Well, they call them mandrakes in the thing. It's obviously not the same thing as this, but
Yeah. Damn, those movies are so good.
so good. Dude, Chamber of Secrets is like
you're
2.5
allowed to like
hours
those?
long. I was raised with Harry Potter being chill. A lot of Christians were not. Okay, there's so many subcultures
she's
of Christianity.
Christian.
J.K. Rowling?
Yeah.
I don't know if she is.
She is.
Okay. I didn't know that. But
Okay.
there's a lot of Christians, obviously, who are very anti because of,
Magic.
yeah, just so retarded. They're like, you can't have you believe in that. It's like, is that what you think?
Dude, if you think that's what's going to like weaken your religious stance, it's weak.
Dude, I will say dude, Luke Moniz comic. Do you know who Luke Moniz is? Very funny comic. He is a hilarious joke about Jesus and Harry Potter. He's like, half of every movie is like celebrating Christmas, right? Which means Jesus is like a person in that. And he's like, but in the wizarding world, Jesus would just be like any other guy. Like he's just another dude.
I saw this bomb at a mic a couple days ago.
No, well, it wasn't by him because Luke Moniz is like he like opens for List and like lives in LA. He's like a great established
someone must
comedian.
have tried to steal this joke.
Really?
Yeah. I heard someone doing it at a mic yesterday.
It's so funny. He's like, yeah, you turned water into wine. Great. Now get in the back. Get in the back with the freaking,
That's funny.
goblins or whoever, the elves.
Yeah. So basically, one of the many boys that Leah popped out goes into the fields and gets some mandrakes, which are flowers. Anyway, while he's Googling that, we'll continue on. And Reuben brings them back and gives them to Leah.
Root of
and
a
then
plant.
Rachel says, hey, give me some of those mandrakes. And Leah's like, "Oh, you already took my husband. Wasn't that enough? Can I at least keep these flowers?" And Rachel's like, "Well, all right, you can fuck him tonight if I can have the flowers." And she's like, "Okay." And then does she go servant mode on this one, or does she do this job herself? Leah went to meet him and said, "You must come into me." Come into me is so direct.
Yeah.
Oh, I want to start a cum counter.
Dude,
because it's a lot.
Yeah, they don't spell it C-U-M, but like
They might. It'd be so funny if they spelled
hilarious. Just the raunchy version of the
This is the word of the Lord.
word of the Lord. Yeah.
For I have hired you with my son's mandrakes. She's like, okay, I traded, so you got to plow me. And then she has another fifth son. So yeah, what's the deal with the mandrakes and that little deal? Is that like?
I really couldn't say. I mean, I would imagine that is. Are you reading the?
No.
This is a study Bible, so there are like notes on the bottom that could potentially clarify that in terms of the mandrake trading. I'd imagine that it is not something that is virtuous. It's like, hey, yeah, you can have them, just trade them for the man. Because most trades, a lot of trades that happen in Scripture are like not good ones. Like someone's getting effed. Like think about the soup, right? When Esau and Jacob, Esau was like, "You can have my birthright. Just please give me the stew or whatever." And it's like, okay, yeah, you're kind of getting wrecked here. This is not a great trade. A whole birthright for a stew. It's like, my man, you find
so hard to read while this, like, because obviously it's easier to pay attention to the spoken word. So while you're,
I was doing that to fill time.
I know you were doing great, but it was kind of reversed. The actual the result was that I was just reading slower because I was trying not to listen.
All right, now
to
you fill time, and then I'll
1 second. I'm almost done. You fuck.
You could also read it out loud.
Yeah, that's a great solve to the problem. No way.
Grant's actually hiding the fact that he can't read.
No. It just says that it like represents female fertility because of this story, but it doesn't. And it just says that it like, oh yeah, they made a deal, but it doesn't say anything about what it like means.
Yeah, I mean, I don't
or
think
why
that,
it's super significant.
Yeah, and it was on verse.
I guess you're right though. It does show like, hey, here's another way of underlying. Because I think what I've noticed in these stories a lot of times is like they repeat things and themes like the sibling rivalry, all that type of stuff. They happen again and again because it's like. That happens in life. It's repetitive. These things that we fall into in these cycles that are over and over again, and it's like a functional thing, and it's put there intentionally. Like,
well, I do think part of this too is saying that Reuben, so Leah's son, went to go get her the mandrake roots, right? And Rachel, as we know, has no sons. She's got no one to go get her stuff, you know. Like Leah's like, hey, my son gave me this root. And Rachel's like, I got no one to go and get me stuff. Could I just have some of your offspring's benefit there?
Yeah.
And Leah's kind of being like, oh, come on. Like, oh, but I don't. Like, she's got like 4 or 5 sons at this point, and she doesn't want to share what is given. And also there's something here. I think this is later in Scripture, but there is this idea of like you get a portion of food, like you get a portion of what you've brought into the world in a weird sense. Like you have sons, and so you get a portion of. There's something about this later with Hannah. This is later in the Old Testament, so I probably shouldn't dive into it because I'm
spoiler alert.
Speaking poorly on it too. But just this idea of you are blessed by having sons because they bring you, like even just talk about this mandrake root. Like Leah's son went to go get the mandrake root, and Rachel's got no one to get stuff for her. So she says, hey, can I benefit from that? And Leah's like, ugh, and then trades it to her and then gets another son on top of it. It's like, dear Lord, you know, it's like, so Leah's getting blessed a lot with these sons. And Rachel, although being loved most by her husband, from the outside world is still not, it seems probably cursed or barren, because a lot of the times if you're barren, it's because it's like, what did you do wrong? Why are you not producing
What did she do
kids?
wrong? She was hot.
Yeah. Sorry for being so hot.
God loves ugly.
Yeah.
Also not true at all.
Yeah.
If you look at any evidence
Both of
ever.
us.
What do you...
He loves hot and ugly.
Yeah, well, I love them all. But, okay.
You decide which is which.
Yeah. And then they just keep having kids back and forth because Rachel and Leah both start giving off slave and themselves, and then Rachel has a baby eventually.
Finally, Rachel's got a kid.
Finally, it works out for the underdog, the really hot one.
The really hot underdog.
Yeah.
And his name is Joseph.
And that's going to be important.
Yeah.
He's an important one.
Important figure. Big.
Even from the little I know that Joseph's important.
That's right.
Okay. And so after all this, he's been working, he's been toiling, he's been coming into...
Ballin'.
And he's been fucking.
That's right.
And so he wants to go back home to where he came from, Jacob does, to where his family is, to the promised land. And so he goes to Laban and he says, hey, man, I kind of did my shit with you.
Yeah,
I
14 years.
I gave you my labor. I gave you my seed. I gave you a bunch of stuff. So can I go now, please? And Laban is like, oh, yeah, you can go.
Yeah, then Laban.
And you can trust me, the guy who's fucked you.
Yeah, he's Laban's like, sure.
Sure. And then he winks in his face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't think he was aware. I think Jacob probably didn't know what a wink was. He probably just saw that and was like, okay.
Okay, odd facial tick. But anyway, yeah, if I can leave.
Sure, I'll help you.
And then Laban
Imagine
goes...
winking in someone's face. I mean, the
balls.
The balls.
Yeah, that is, but a lot of these people, they do what they need.
Yeah.
So Laban gives him a deal. He goes, okay, well, what do you want for all the things that you've done for me? Right? He's basically like, what can I give you in return for your work? And he's like, you don't have to give me anything. And Laban goes, no, I'll give you something. How about you take all the speckled and striped and black sheep and goats, and then I keep all the rest because you've tended to these herds and given me all this good stuff.
Mm-hmm. And by the way, Jacob's been good at his job too. He's been
really good.
Yeah, making the flocks big. Like, he's helped Laban prosper.
The subheading of this section is Jacob's prosperity. So I should have.
Yeah, as a heads up, just really.
Yeah, he's
been good.
In my book, there's no subtitle that says Grant's prosperity. So
not yet.
Jacob's handed it.
There's
out.
a recent one that says Grant's faux prosperity.
yeah.
The Tubi special.
Please watch my Tubi special. Please watch it.
It's great. It's a good set. It's a good set. It's good. The material's good.
I am proud
it's
of
funny.
it. So you can take the, I guess, marked ones, and then Jacob goes, okay, that's a fine deal, even though I probably am responsible for more of that, but that's a fine deal. I don't want you to think I don't want to feel like I owe you anything. They go to sleep, and then at night, Laban takes all of the black and speckled and marked ones out, and then they go 3 days away. Is this part right?
I think so. This gets honestly really confusing because this kind of gets into like a weird, like, to explain it quickly, like eugenics type thing of these sheep. I shouldn't say eugenics. I should just say
that's after though. But this I'm just talking about now, like, because I was confused. Like, Laban leaves and goes 3 days a distance away.
Yeah,
and then when Jacob wakes up and he sees that he's taken all of the ones that he was allowed to take, in this covenant, the spotted and the marked ones, that's when he gets into this weird eugenics thing of like, and there's something to this. There is a real thing where like animals that see a particular pattern are more likely to breed more of that pattern.
I believe that. You're the one from Wisconsin, dude.
No. I've this is like one of those, those ghosts of a memory.
Sure.
But there's something to it. But so he basically puts a bunch of sticks in the ground that are speckled by ripping off the bark, and then gets all the sheep to fuck around them because he puts it in the trough when they fuck where they eat. And they start having offspring that have these speckles and these markings. And then he also makes sure the strong ones are doing it in these areas so that the strong ones are speckled and marked. And then he eventually builds up enough of a flock, and then he takes all of those and takes his wives and children and leaves Laban's land.
Yeah, he basically, again, really, really smartly just breeds these things good. And yeah.
If life gives you lemons, make a bunch of black and speckled sheep.
Yeah, out of the lemons.
Out of the lemons.
It's a true miracle.
A lot of those in here.
A lot of miracles in there.
Okay, and what do you think of that?
I don't know. It's really hard to say because I feel like there are a lot of ways you could feel about this, but sometimes you just read something in the Bible and you're just like, all right, that's a fact.
Okay, what's the next one?
You just read it. You're just like, all right, he did that.
I don't know what I'm supposed to get out of that.
There's evidence of the Lord's faithfulness in every step of Scripture, right? The thing that bars us from seeing that faithfulness a lot of this is just our own ignorance a lot of the time. And because I'm ignorant of, come on, dude. I'm sorry. What the hell?
I just poured
water onto my.
I basically purposely spilled water.
Yeah, why'd you do that? What's your goal?
I wanted to see if it would
spill
if it
when
would
you
spill.
poured water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe a miracle happens, Josh.
Yeah, maybe it dries
spill.
up. I will say the water beads up really nicely on this. Come on. Also, you really popping a little bit of a tent here on your.
No.
your jeans.
That's just Gene Boner.
I know. That's what I'm saying. It's the tent.
That's all that is. I swear.
I mean, if you're getting rock hard from reading Scripture,
hey,
positive, maybe.
Yeah, I can come into my pants.
Yeah, like I did last night.
Hey, oh yeah, you want to talk about that?
I don't have to, but I had a wet dream last night. So
yeah, which are
reset
allowed.
the clock, baby.
Reset it.
Clearing on the way to 3 months. Here we go.
Yeah, the non-sacrilegious, the only non-sacrilegious way to come before marriage, wet dreams. This podcast is brought to you by Wet Dreams.
Wet ones. The ones are dreams.
Yeah.
And that's all. That's what I'm having these days.
Blow your load in your sleep, and you can still get into heaven.
Yeah. Although it wasn't my Viore shorts, and I have to do a load.
What if you have a gay wet dream though?
Chill. Wet dream.
Wet dream's a wet dream's a wet dream.
Yeah, I would say. I mean, if it's like with your family, I'd be like, let's look into that.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if it's like a family or maybe like a pedophilic wet dream or something.
Like a dog.
Maybe. No, that's cool. Because dogs can be personified. You know what I mean? Like, oh, it was
Sure,
a dog,
like
but it was a person. You know what I mean? But if it was like, it was my mom, but not my mom, it's like, well, the fact that it's your mom at all, let's check that out.
Let's look into that.
Yeah. Hey, they were 34, but they were actually 8. It's like, okay, that's maybe.
What if it's like your mom, but it's like your Back to the Future mom?
Honestly, at that point in the past, she is not your mom because she hasn't had you yet.
Right.
So weird loophole. I say it's okay.
You can hit.
I think it's okay. She hasn't had you yet.
Man, what a quick justification for fucking your own mom.
Dude, I'm just looking for
That's why
any reason.
You're like, you go to the time machine guy and you're like, why are you building it so frivolously? You're like, oh, we need to kill Hitler. So we need to. All right, Oedipus.
Set it to 1977.
Yeah.
My mom was 17 at the time. Or no, she was 20. Oh, no, she was 25 at that time.
Your mom was, I forget your mom's a little older.
Yeah, she's born in 52.
Whoa.
I know.
Okay, wow, we really got distracted on that one. What was the
All
point
right.
of that? I think there's something to be said about like when someone puts you in a nasty situation, you can use your mind to get around it instead of get above, don't get even.
Yeah, and it's kind of like
That could be something you could take from this.
Yeah, this is like, and also he was blessed by I mean, it just shows like kind of the ingeniousness too of Jacob. It's like this dude's smart. Also, in a little way, like I don't feel that bad that Jacob got tricked a few times by Laban because Jacob also tricked. He was a tricker. He tricked Esau, he tricked Isaac, and now he's just kind of getting his comeuppance. You know what I mean? He's just getting what's coming to him. So it's like,
But he's also prospering the whole time.
Sure, yeah, the Lord blesses. I mean, here's the thing, and I've probably said this before. The Bible is not a bunch of perfect people doing perfect things, getting, blessed and cursed. It's a bunch of generally pretty bad people getting incredibly blessed. That's like a lot of what Scripture is, because it's not supposed to be like this, oh yeah, it's a perfect guy's world, and once you do what's right and da-da-da. It's like, what is this?
I have a sty in my eye, and the cold feels nice. I'm listening.
This is a video.
But come on.
Yeah, no one's watching.
I'm admonishing you for even considering that people are watching this. Joshua.
Dude, please.
Grow up.
Grow up.
Now let me put this can of Coke on my eye.
Can of zero cherry Coke. What is that? Coke Zero Cherry or
Coke Cherry Zero.
Coke Cherry Zero.
Coke Zero Cherry. Well, the cherry's on top. It's cherry Coca-Cola Zero Sugar.
Okay. Add a few more words to that.
It's the official title.
Name a paragraph after it. So I think, what was I saying? Oh yeah, generally terrible people getting blessed, and like that's kind of the point of Scripture. Is like the Lord doesn't love you because you're good; He loves you so you become good.
Because you're bad.
Because you're bad.
The Lord's into bad boys.
The Lord likes bad boys.
Do you know what?
Bad.
Do you know what Chabad is? Like the Chabad
Is that like when
Jews?
they make food in front of you?
No, that's hibachi. That's funny. But I was talking with my girlfriend about. She was talking about.
Whoa, girlfriend!
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Let's go. Sorry.
Chabad women like basically
Hot
like
bod
Hasidic.
Oh, okay, yeah. Maybe not hot bod.
Well, you wouldn't know.
You wouldn't know.
You know what their hair looks like. But then we were doing like covers where you replace bad girl with Chabad girl.
That's pretty good.
I'm a Chabad. Oh, wait, she's a Chabad girl. I've seen her hair before. She's so dangerous.
That's funny.
Yeah, so it was just a fun thing. A fun way for me to insert that I have a girlfriend.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yep, just the two of us.
That's us.
Dating women.
Yep. We're dating women. But anyway.
This comes out in 18 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Anyway, I don't know. Where do we go from here?
Jacob's not a good guy. He's tricked. He's been tricked. He has the blessing of the Lord.
Yeah. And he uses his brain to get out of a sticky situation.
That's true. And then ultimately, Jacob flees Laban. Let's see where he's going. Oh my gosh, he really flees for a long time. Oh, because this is talking about his fear of.
Well, yeah, he talks to the wives and the kids, and he says, we got to leave. I want to leave. You guys okay with that? And they're like, yeah, our dad's a dick. Mm-hmm. Let's go. And this part there is an interesting part in here, which I was a little confused about because I didn't have the ESV on me, but they're going around and they're getting all their stuff. He's taking all the speckled sweet
lambs
and stuff, and he's getting all his slaves rounded up. And Rachel goes in and steals, it says she steals her father's gods.
Yes, steals his idols.
His idols. So what is she taking? What does that mean?
Idols back then, that would be like a prosperity thing, right? Like no one's worshiping a god that they don't think blesses them.
Right.
So stealing the idols is definitely like, hey, this is like my lucky charms as a
So
sense,
she's taking like totem poles and
the whole big
Easter Island heads.
Yeah, just taking stuff away and kind of like as an insult,
Yeah, fuck you.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
And so then Laban chases them down, tries to get them back, and then Rachel, it was Rachel, not Leah, right? Rachel
stuffs him in her ass.
Sneaky. She sits on him.
Yeah.
Who knows how? Anything's a dildo if you're brave enough. That's what I've heard people say.
That's later in scripture, but
that's in the thousands of pages. But so she takes them, hides them under her seat. So Laban and people are all over the tent for it and stuff like that. And Rachel's like, I dare not stand in front of my father. Just be respectful. I don't want to stand up in front of. Yeah, and then
because she
hides them under her seat.
I thought she was using period excuse.
I think that was. She was saying it's my time of the month. I shouldn't stand.
Yeah.
Because I'm unclean, basically, which we get. Ladies, please. Yuck.
Wait, keep. Well, don't keep talking because it'll take me 30 minutes
I was gonna start talking about Diva cups and tampons.
Please.
Talk about Diva cups. My friend Madison Miller told me about Diva cups in college.
Okay, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Rachel, when Laban's like, "Hey, where's my shit?" and he can't find it, and she's sitting on the camel saddle. She goes, "Let not my lord," and that's as in Laban being her lord. "Let not my lord be angry that I cannot rise before you, for the way of women is upon me."
Oh, what? So you're a little moody right now?
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Oh.
And you guys want to be president.
Classic sexism.
So she uses sexism in her favor.
Well, yeah, but for her, it's not sexism. They just, had the right view.
Right.
Just kidding. It's just different back then,
Yeah. But refers to a regular menstrual discharge. Oh, so she's saying, oh yeah, they didn't have tampons.
No.
So if you're bleeding back then, it's like leaking out.
Probably. I mean, they probably had some way to mitigate it. But
Undies and maybe.
Yeah. I don't think they put a pad on within their underwear. They probably were just like, well,
these are trash.
This is my blood underwear.
I'm going to have to clean
underwear.
these next week.
Yeah, or just toss them.
Okay.
You know.
But yeah, so she says that, and he's like, it's so funny. It's like your gods that are bringing you prosperity. And then she's like, no, I can't get up. I'm on my period. He's like, yeah, stay down. I don't want to. And my gods aren't worth me seeing.
No. But he didn't know the gods were underneath her.
Sure, but like he's searching, like, and he's definitely not going to search that.
No. Also, imagine sitting down on top of someone else's gods with your defiled body, with your period body. Yeah. Also, I don't know if the wave of women was actually upon her, but I think that was just the excuse she was using.
No, that's the excuse she was using. But
yeah.
Just like that's such a good way to repel men from asking any questions.
Yeah, 100%.
Is what I'm saying. Is
I think women do that now too.
No, exactly.
Yeah, 100%.
Exactly.
Like, well, I was in the bathroom doing.
Yeah. Which I don't want to hear about it.
Some guy. That's funny. So a lot of guys are like, I don't want to hear about your period, but I'm interested. I'm like, oh, what's it like? What's going on?
Yeah, I am too, because it's such like we can't conceptualize the experience.
No,
and then you hear about how dramatically different their mood is, and you're like, what the fuck?
I have a friend who sometimes she's moody, and I try to ask her, and I'm like, because there's no way to ask this while being polite. So I'm just like, is your body influencing your mood right now?
Yeah.
And then she gets really mad at me. And then
then she's always like, yes.
Yeah. Then a day later, she's like, yeah, I just started my period. I'm like, okay, so I nailed it.
Well, it's not fair, because you have a strong calendar app is tracking all your female friends.
I have a lot of female friends who,
menstrual cycles.
Yeah, but they live all over the country. They haven't synced together. It's very annoying.
Yeah,
that'd be way more convenient.
That is tough. You need to get them on Asana or one of those like
Yeah.
CRMs for periods.
Yeah.
Yeah.
CRM for periods?
Yeah.
Cunt relationship manager.
Well, for the lighter folks, cramp relationship manager. Dude, getting an Asana for every woman's period.
That's hilarious. I get another subscription.
It's like, girls,
yeah,
this week's okay.
Yeah, man, all of our female listeners will love this part.
Well, we're thinking about them.
Not well, but
we're considering
maybe. What's it like to be a woman?
Do you think that will ever come? I guess we do it with birth control, but like, it's like, hey, you have to have a period once a month, right? That's just biology.
Mm-hmm.
But now with this app, you can trigger it. You decide.
I don't know if it's going to be that intense, because I mean, I feel like someone would want to front load their year and just really have a trashy January, February, and then just kind of.
Well, there's 12, so you do 12 straight. That's like a hypertrophy program.
No, but also
12 straight weeks of period.
Yeah, but some don't period that hard. Like I have friends who have a really light 3 days, and then I've also known people who have a really heavy like 6 to 7 days. So it really depends. You know, every woman's different.
That's true.
Which is why generally like
and beautiful
birth control makes it, unless they're weak in the eyes.
Yeah.
You know, some birth control just makes it lighter or just regulates it or whatever. But like some go hard.
Yeah, some make it.
Go ahead.
Have you heard? It has happened to people. I know someone who knows someone, which is maybe not the best justification for what I'm about to say. But like, have you heard of like how people who got like specific vaccines had like 6-month periods? Like bleeding for 6 months. Oh my God.
Yeah, I have heard that.
Anyway.
Crazy. No, yeah, I'm pro-vax.
Yeah, I'm sure that has nothing to do with it.
No, I'm sure it's completely unrelated.
Well, there's side effects.
I also know people who have took the vaccine and became diabetics right after.
Really?
Yeah, type 1.
That's crazy. I took it and I got ripped.
Really? Yeah. I took it and
I got abs.
Nothing happened.
Yeah, I think that's what you want. And that's probably the majority.
I guess it's the majority. But on these anecdotal stories, I will base...
on friends of friends of friends.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But okay, we got through...
I mean, next... So he's fleeing Laban. Next, he's going back to
Laban has a dream, too. Sorry.
Okay, no, go ahead with Laban's dream.
Laban has a dream when they catch up, the night before he catches up with Jacob. He has a dream, and God's like, hey, and this is a very, I don't understand why he says this exactly, but God tells Laban in the dream, when you talk to Jacob, don't say anything good or bad. So he's very neutral.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
so you chase someone for 7 days, and then when you show up, they're like, "Whoa, what are you gonna do to me?" You're like, "How are you?"
Hey, good to see you. Just small talk.
Hey, what a coincidence!
This is great. Just sprinting after them.
Yeah.
What? Oh, just kind of Whoa, way to bump into you.
How's the travels been? Yeah.
Whoa, it's been for us good. All right.
So that part's a little odd. And then they meet up and they talk it out, and then they create a covenant.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
And the covenant is?
A bunch of stones. If I go this way, this is my stuff. You don't fuck with me. I'm Laban. And then you go back home and pass this pile of stones. It's basically they create a border.
Yeah, because they're kind of trying to steal from each other, right? Because
Yeah.
before Laban like jacks all of his stuff, and then Jacob tricks him and jacks kind of some of his stuff with the sheep and stuff like that. So they're kind of just like at this weird internal battle. So at this point, they're like, listen, call it even. All right, no more.
No more.
And they're like, all right, chill. But now Jacob's like, all right, I got to leave this area. I got to go back to my homeland. Who's in his homeland? But his brother Esau, who he tricked and stole, and it's been years since they've
so
seen
that he
each other.
wouldn't kill him.
Yeah, so now he's going back there, and he's like, "Well, what the hell is that going to look like?"
Yeah.
You know. And so that's kind of where that's where I think we'll leave it for this week. Probably we'll dive into that next week.
Damn,
Jacob.
these were fat chapters.
Yeah, man. Jacob saw the beautiful Rachel, married
Yes.
her, married Leah.
Yeah,
Had a lot of kids.
lots of kids.
Lots
and
of kids.
Most importantly, boys.
Most importantly, boys. Roped in, and yeah, well, never mind. Roped in a lot of people, the Zilpah and Bilhah,
Yeah,
the slaves, and those slaves bore children that became tribes of Israel, which is very high up. I'm just saying how the Lord raises up slaves to be more than just slaves. In terms of like, yeah, this is just a slave girl who nobody cares about her. Her child becomes a tribe of Israel.
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
And she gets an IMDb Bible name credit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's huge. Bilhah is somewhere in
I'm into
heaven right
Bible.
now.
That's what that stands for.
Yeah, 100%.
IMDb.
I'm into Bible.
I'm into Bible.
Man, we're kind of killing it with the acronyms today.
We're kind of doing
We're
good.
kind of doing good. I think
Slow start, but we got
it's
to
too
go.
bad that an hour and two in we're really heating up. This really sucks.
Dude, that's why people have Patreons,
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
which
'cause
we
then
will not.
The Patreons are just heaters.
Yeah.
What would we even talk about if we had a Patreon? What would we even do?
The next chapter.
No, we can't do that. Next chapter's got to be the main app.
No, I think.
No way. We're not doing Patreon chapters. We'll
I
talk
don't
about
know.
this off air.
We got to make money so that we can give it back to the
Yeah,
church.
well, first let's post the first episode. Whoop.
Whoop. Okay, so anyway, yeah, then and then they split up, and we will, when we come back next time, we will, and this is for the listener, not us, when we forget, because we don't record this very frequently.
Mm-hmm.
We will be picking up when Jacob met Esau.
Yes, exactly. Esau.
Esau.
Either one. It's fine. They're dead. Who cares?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
So that was fun. I hope you liked it. Please, I don't know if it's on YouTube, like and leave a comment or subscribe or whatever, and tell us if we're good or bad. But
send it to your
only
aunt
if we're good.
who has breast cancer.
Yeah, this could help her. This should be how she spends her few last hours.
Mm-hmm.
And we love you. And this has been another installment of
Call him
Call Him
Father.
Father.
All right. See you guys.
Bye.